Hey guys, Captain Perry here. Everybody says I'm the luckiest guy there is. I get to play on boats, drive boats, take people out on boats, and I won't disagree with them. However, the most fun thing that I get to do and the most amazing thing I do is taking these veterans out and getting to know those guys. There's some really cool guys. All of them have got great stories too. So we've met with a few of them, let them tell their stories. Back last month or two ago, I was able to sit down with Jon Beach, let him talk a little bit. I think you'll really enjoy his story. He's a really cool guy. And then he came down here to work on Ghostship, help get that ready for the next group of veterans that'll be going out soon. So y'all stay tuned, check out these guys, check out the other videos of some of them. I think you'll enjoy them. Captain Perry out, see ya. Jon Beach.
Howdy folks.
Down here working hard on Ghostship. Was able to have a conversation with him a few weeks ago in Lexington.
Yep. Adam Harrod was with us.
Yeah.
Over lunch.
Now he's down here working hard as he can on Ghostship. See if he can get out on another trip or do it for some other veterans to go out.
Yeah.
Great.
It's coming together.
I've never been a kind of person that spoke a lot about my service and stuff, other than the fact that, you know, I was in during peak times and got to see a lot of things and meet a lot of people. Rotation to Kosovo for Operation Joint Guardian, and spent 15 months in Korea, and from 99 to 2004 during the global war on terror. Happened to be at Fort Bragg of all places when September 11th actually occurred. But I got hooked up with Ghostship Warriors through Jeremy Wallace and his nonprofit there, Picking a Soldier's Heart, Bluegrass Muddy Waters. And of course, he had introduced me early on when he got into contact with you in that organization and started facilitating trips for veterans, both male and female. But was first given the opportunity to do the Bahamas, the Exumas trip here back earlier this year of 2025. Had a great experience. Got to travel and sail with several people that I was already familiar with through Jeremy's organization, and happened to be on the same ship sailing with Skipper Perry and of course Skipper Steve. So, but it was a great experience. Great experience.
Get any sharks after you or anything?
No, did get to swim with some though. There's sharks there in the area. Got to dive with them, and saw several points during that trip that we actually got to get in the water and do some scuba diving and snorkeling with the hookah rig. So made for quite an adventure. And then of course we did also snorkeled out to the what was that? The Thunderball. I can't remember the name. Thunder Grotto, yeah. But that was definitely once in a lifetime thing. But it's just something you never think you'd ever get a chance to experience, and the fact that it was kind of in a location where makes it hard to reach. And of course, with the people you're with, all share some of the same life experiences while we were on the military. So, been made for a good once in a lifetime venture. Actually, life changing. But really enjoyed that part of it. I think most veterans would agree that it's not somebody that you necessarily have to serve with, because you either experience some of the same both positive and negative life-changing events in your service. And so there's a uniqueness to that, and that's what makes trips on the ghost ships and through Jeremy Wallace's nonprofit that make it so enjoyable, is that you're being grouped and paired with people that share the same life experiences, and you don't really have to share those experiences with them because they've lived the same things that you have. So it makes it more personable. I was in the Army, and I went in as a specialist, and I left as a sergeant, a buck sergeant. So
Buck sergeant.
Yeah, E5. First, I guess lower as far as lower enlisted is being on a junior NCO, non-commissioned officer. So
never heard it called a buck sergeant.
Yeah, it's Actually, family they called it, but that was the World War II generation that would talk about it being a buck sergeant. Yeah, buck sergeant. So it's something you ever heard. You just don't hear anymore amongst people my age and younger, especially. So, but a junior NCO.
What do you miss most about the service?
The other service members and just the environment. It's almost unexplainable. I mean, you have to experience it. So when people talk about wanting to go in the military, and then they're like, "Well, what are your opinion of it?" You can have your own opinions of it, but you've really got to go through the process to understand it and the training. And then once you get there, you have a better appreciation for not just the people you serve with, but also the purpose of why you're there. Not just to better yourself, but better your family, better the country. So, but it was without a doubt with other service members and their families. Because my wife served, my kids served, did a 5-year stint, and they served too. And it's an adjustment for family because sometimes they're just there for the ride and they've got to experience the same things you do. It's just they're doing it on the civilian side and having to deal with military life. So, but it was definitely more of a positive thing looking back on it 20 years now, going back 20 years and saying, hey, it was definitely well worth it. Even though there were some heartbreaking, trying times. So,
what were they? You get bonus points if you just one tier.
I'm not gonna do that. It's taken a lot of counseling for me to get through those because, and I can kind of make light of it now, but it did bring, and I think most other people that you would interview and talk to, especially in the realm of serving overseas or in a combat or war zone, would probably feel the same way. And you don't have to talk to a lot of people about it. You just kind of share that. It goes on to sharing the bond with people that you didn't necessarily serve with, but you're being put in an environment where you can all just kind of talk and share and relive things if you want to. Right. And you can do it to your various degrees. So there were a lot of good things about it, and then of course you got to take the good with the bad. But even with the counseling with the VA and the things that the Department of Veteran Affairs does for the veterans to improve not just our physical health but our mental health, getting introduced to other programs, nonprofits such as Ghostship Warriors, and of course the program Jeremy does, Camp Brown Bear. All those things are things that have made opportunities to better myself a lot more easy for me to reintegrate or get back into the civilian world and kind of live a near normal life, or nearly as normal as a service member can have. I think most people would say that if you're going to go in new to the military, a lot of it you have to understand what the purpose of it is, and it's not to just improve yourself, but you're serving for others, those that might not be able to serve themselves, but you're serving for the betterment of other people. You're sacrificing not only yourself, but for the betterment of the country or your family, friends. And it's unique, but again, it's also timing. Certain times you might want to go in the military at certain times, and other times you might look back and go, hey, the timing's not right, or I don't know if I would want to be in the military during this time. When I joined, we were at peace in '99. 2 years later, September 11th happened, and so it's like you're thrown into a war, and that's the mentality, you know. You join not thinking that, hey, I can end up dying, and then next thing you know, you're being thrown all of a sudden into conflict somewhere else in the globe, and having to adjust to that, you know, and realizing that you can ultimately make the ultimate sacrifice, regardless of, you know, family at home. So, and I was fortunate. I lost friends. overseas during Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom. I lost friends during Operation Joint Guardian in Kosovo. And it's hard, and often some of those same friends that I've lost were not at the hand of an enemy or during a conflict. It was not being able to handle the realities of life, not just during the military, but even after the military. And you know, as often and as tragic that it has been for me, and I know other people that I've gotten to do these trips with, sharing some of those same things, and I try to learn from those, as tragic as that is, and the things that it leaves back for their families to deal with. And I think that's made me a better person. I can look more into how important life is, not just for me and how I live my life, but how I live my life and the things that I do, and how they would affect my wife, my kids, my fellow service members, veterans. So in that tragedy, you try to find hope, and I think that's what I've done. That's why I'm in a good place. I'm in a better place than I was 15 years ago. And some of that I owe to my wife, and some of the people at the vet center here in Lexington. Some of those guys were prior service too. They're no longer with us, and it's just life. You happen to deal in a different set of cards, you know. But they were good people, and I took that stuff and they saved my life and my marriage, helping me navigate the effects of especially for service to the country. So I just do what I can. I try to live the best life, not only for myself, but again for my family and friends. And so 15 years later, a much better place, get the opportunity to do this, meet up with you guys, and something to look forward to. Already planning another, you know, just getting to come out and go sailing again later. Meeting up and doing projects, helping you along with not just your living, your boat. You live there at your home, and you open it up to service members, and so you almost feel obligated and want to be a part of it. So, but it makes me feel better, and it helps me navigate life. So. I've seen you've done Adam, interviewed him several times and stuff, and I don't talk a lot about it, and it's who I am, and it's tough, but you know, it's the least I can do to, other than coming out and helping and giving you physical labor and doing what I can. I'm able to do that, and it does. It helps me in my everyday healing. And my family's very supportive of it. So when I have the time and the availability, a little bit of funds and stuff, I do what I can. And that's why I do it, because I enjoy it. I get to develop new friendships. So sometimes you just do things, and people you're dealing with, you don't have to say a whole lot because you have an understanding. And a lot of other people's lives mirror your own. You might not share that with them, but you know in your heart, you know. You do a lot of things to promote nonprofits and things, especially to benefit service members, and you should continue to do that. And it's important that you do it. I think it goes a long way with helping other people, not just myself, but other veterans in similar situations. And it means a lot to people. And you'll get more things from some people than you would others, but the whole point is to keep doing it, because it does influence people's outcomes and how they look at life, especially after our sailing trip. A lot of things we did were life changing and very memorable, and to be able to share that with people. Not have, if you don't have an affiliation with the military, but you do have a feeling and understanding of supporting stuff and opening your home, your boat, to people and traveling and doing things that normally most people would never do. I mean, that's life changing for yourself, and even Steve. So that's something you want to continue to do. It's a good thing.
What advice would you give to other people that are struggling?
Well, not to isolate. Don't try your best not to avoid. And when I say that, you don't want to isolate yourself from not just your family, but your friends. And sometimes it can be scary, it can be painful, but sometimes you've got to put yourself out there. And if you're not willing to do that, it's gonna come back. It's gonna come back to haunt you. But putting yourself out there and being able to mingle people who can share some of the same life experiences as yourself, especially coming from the military, a war zone, or serving in combat, is to not isolate and try your best not to avoid people and situations. You've got to be able to integrate yourself back into what most people consider the norm of society, but never forgetting your past and your service to the country, because that's always going to be a big part of who you are or who we are. Avoid isolation and try not to avoid integrating and being a part of something, which is an opportunity to be a part of veterans programs found with Picking a Soldier's Heart, Ghostship Warriors, Camp Brown Bear and Steve here in Frankfort in Kentucky. So those are all opportunities that present themselves on a reoccurring basis, more often than not. And so seek those out. And that's just a handful of opportunities that a lot of veterans are being given, both from those who have served and those from the civilian sector who have a good understanding and have been in contact with people such as Jeremy Wallace out of his organization there in Western Kentucky. But that would be my advice. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to another opportunity to get back out on the water with you and Steve and the other core veterans that you put together, or even some familiar faces again like Adam and all just going. But every time you put yourself as a veteran, you put yourself out there, you're getting an opportunity to meet new people.
Reminds me, Yash told me to tell you hello.
Yeah,
Talked to him yesterday.
Yash met him on Steve's vessel or his boat there during that time. And that guy, he's quite adventurous. He does a lot of traveling. I think last time I think he was in Thailand or something like that.
Yeah,
he travels and does all these long hikes. I mean, multi-week hikes and stuff. Spain, I think he was in Spain for a while.
Good gosh.
So it's neat because, like I said, it's like I had never met him up to that point, but just to hear his stories and his adventures and stuff, and him getting to experience this thing. We wasn't talking about war, wasn't talking about the military. You were living life and getting to have to do things that you normally would never have gotten the opportunity to do, scuba diving and stuff, and snorkeling, and using the hookah device.